It is a classic trap when you've built your channel on high-end aesthetics and just high-end gear, generally like the best damn EDC, to literally respond to comments from folks that say stuff like you never use your gear. I think it's a complete waste of energy, time, low-key makes you look like a low-cow, and you're literally falling into the trap of what's called rage bait or engagement bait. A lot of times when folks comment like that on mine, I'm like, yeah, I mean, the shit was sent to me the other day. You know, I've only tested it for so much amount of time. It's kind of the essence of doing gear reviews. So to completely do a segment response, like some of you folks sent me on this video, I thought was a little bit laughable. I told myself, I guess I'll check it out. I'll do a response to it. And I'll just tell you how like this should have been handled, because I think it could have been handled completely differently. We'll do this while enjoying a stick and racing a NASCAR race, because, you know, why not? So I saw this video title, says I never use my gear. Good nice clickable video. I kind of like that. And I was wondering like, okay, well, what gear does he never use? So let's just really take a look and see what we got here. So, I think that it's a big mistake to respond how I kind of started the video, how I think he responded to this. I think it was it may not have been the best look, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is exactly how you should handle it. And while we watch this, we're also going to watch me crash into some walls. Let's get it.
It is linked down below. Back to the whole I never use my gear topic of discussion. So this popped up a lot in my truck gift guide, my truck EDC video.
Now I do all those same videos. Truck gift, I've never done a truck gift guide, but truck EDC video, I've done like 2 or 3 of those in the last 2 years. So yeah, it's going to be some stuff that literally doesn't get used because it should be for emergency.
Just last week, it pops up all the time. It's actually a very, very common comment that I get here on the channel. It's that I don't use my gear. Everything is always pristine. We've actually talked about this in the deep cuts before. There was a one we call, I think the title was,
I think I've seen this video. He put it out 6 months ago. I saw that video.
It's like everyday carry is a lie. The main topic of that one being that if you don't carry the same thing every single day, is it really everyday carry? Go watch that one if you want to hear my thoughts on that. But this comment that I never use my gear, it's so funny to me.
Why would it be funny? Now, when I hear someone say it's so funny to me, instantly I think cope. You are coping. It's actually not funny to you, and it actually hurts your feelings. But let you go off, King.
There are a lot of people out there who think that I just sit at a desk all day, every day, and I never use any of my stuff. And there is a lot of truth to that.
Why could it be both funny and it'd be a lot of truth to that? Come on now, big dog. Now, this is the thing. It can't be makes me laugh for that's so funny to me. And also, by the way, I spend a lot of time sitting at my desk, which I also, I guess, would have a white collar job is what you're kind of describing here, where I spend a lot of time at my desk. Now I have, I think, more kids than you do, and I don't know about what else you got going on in your life, but I think I probably got like a crappier house than you do. I bought a hoarder house. I have to do a lot of work myself. So a lot of my stuff gets used around the house, but you know, it would never be laughable to me if someone made that comment, because it would be authentically true. I mean, I'm a gear reviewer. It's the essence of being a gear reviewer to mostly not use, I'm getting into the wall, to mostly not use the gear that you're given. You know, it just wouldn't make a lot of sense if you always was.
Years ago, I used to be in my shop all the time, building things, and I don't do that nearly enough anymore.
I agree with you. I used to do a lot of woodworking. I don't know what it means to be in your shop. I call mine a shop. I might do one project for somebody a year. It was mostly stuff I did around the house. But now my shop is a man cave, and I film and I edit, and I don't have a team, so I do everything myself.
I spend a lot of time sitting at a desk making these videos, running the store on carry commission, taking photos, editing those photos, making emails. I spend a lot of my time at a desk. I don't have a blue-collar job. I'm not out there cutting straps and all sorts of stuff with my knives every single day. But this notion that I don't use my gear and that I'm afraid to use my gear, I want to keep it pristine, is actually honestly very funny to me, more than...
Okay, so you said the notion that you don't use your gear and that you're afraid to use your gear is actually very funny to you. I hope you give a deep dive, because you literally just explained why people should feel like they are right, okay? We are gear reviewers that mostly show pristine, cleaned up, even if used, to make sure it doesn't show that way on camera, pieces of gear. And we do that for more views and or for future companies to give us their crap so it looks good on camera. Now, if you don't go through that process, I've literally had people comment on some of my videos like, hey, dude, could you have cleaned up the knife before you filmed it? And I'm just like, why? I guess me personally, I don't do YouTube full time. And if other knife companies or gear companies were to see a video of one of their competitors and say, oh my God, he didn't clean that shit up before he put it on Instagram or before he filmed it, what the F over, then I guess I might not be working with them. But just, I don't necessarily get my panties too much in a bunch of behind it, and I definitely don't give a F if people comment that I don't use the gear.
Anything, because there's this like sentiment here at the office when something comes in, like this camp mule, which just came in 2 days ago. The sentiment is always, don't take one yet. We need to get photos. If you take this, it will be destroyed before we get photos.
And that gives people the reason to say you don't use the gear. Right now you're giving an excuse as to why photos and videos look so good. All right, whatevs, right? You get stuff in, you take a media photo. I don't particularly do that. I honestly, I think if I had a team, like if I had a Pretty Ricky like you do or something like that, maybe I would be more prone to do that. When I get a new piece of gear or kit in, I literally don't have time to take a B-roll of it, a photo of it. The first time it will ever get seen by a camera is if I decide to do a video on it. Come on, Kyle Larson, time to get you. But other than that, I don't have a reason to try to get perfect photos of it before I were to put it through a piece of cardboard or whatever.
The first thing that happens every single time I get a new knife, immediately I either
I'm
drop
really tight.
it, I get scratches all over it. This one's all scratched up. The reason you never see that in any of the photos is because I have this, like, maybe we'll call it OCD about dust and specks and things in the photos. I edit the absolute crap out of my photos to get.
And this is something else. All right, I will be honest with you. When I take photos for the Instagrams or for the YouTubes, I just try to get the saturation right and the lighting right. But literally editing, I don't edit specks and dust. And I guess, you know, that matters if you want the big views. But like I say, I didn't start off in the world of the C-nets in the pocket nouns that end up on a niche that worked for me. It's just kind of what I learned from past experience from the military and translated that to a channel. But you know.
Get the dust out of them because they look way better if you just put in a little time to get the dust out. It's actually been a big topic of conversation here over the last 2 or 3 weeks. There's like 2 or 3 layers to this sentiment that I don't use my gear. Here is a perfect example. This has become one of my favorite knives of all time. This is the Schwartz Knives LT5. This is the knife that stays in my camp truck, the Bison, and you can see that I've used this. I've taken this out.
I mean, I have a knife that kind of stays in the truck as well, and it would be, oh my God, I'm not gonna make it. I missed the pit. We got to go around one more time. Hope I make it. I got some knives, especially like my Gerber double action machete. I'm very all over the place.
Black flag. We need to do a pass through down pit road. We lost the lead. Let's get it back.
Oh, I got a black flag for going too fast on pit road. Sucks.
Yellow's out.
Super duper sucks. Yes, pit.
All right, get up on the wall and be ready, fellas. Pace car's off.
I am now in 40th place. Took that pit stop all wrong.
Be ready.
But I also have a knife that I would keep in my vehicle and you know, it get used every now and again. I don't have a camp knife because I probably go camping like once every 3 years. I go hunting every year, and I guess I sleep out. I guess that's camping technically because I sleep outside, but I don't go somewhere intending to set up a sleeping situation and cook outside. That's just not I guess a definition of camping. I don't do that.
A few times on the Suffering with Salyer trip, I may have.
But even that knife still doesn't look that beat up. And this is where I think you fall into the trap of responding to the stuff, because that knife does not look that beat up. I have a buddy who came over the other day to give me a quote on installing a new fence here at my house. He had a Gerber full-size Griptilian, or a Benchmade full-size Griptilian rather. That thing looked horrible, super beat up. He's never sent it in the Benchmade to sharpen it. He's never sharpened it himself. I was able to run my thumb over it, not slice skin. He loves it. It's beat up. The butterflies damn near rubbed off. The coating is completely gone. It is a beat up knife. I had my pest control guy come over and show me a knife I gave him last year by Civivi. It looks horrible. He uses it all the time. He's always cutting pieces of kit in the back of his truck and doing whatever pest. It's getting chemicals on it from the pest control stuff that he uses. It looked really, really bad. Even I have a knife that I use to split wood in my backyard because I have a fire pit, and I have a knife by Montana Knife Company, but it looks more beat up than that thing. And it's getting used multiple times a week because I do I baton the back of it to split firewood. But the point is this is another reason why you don't respond to these type of comments, because now you open up the door to people like me, or people that are going to have way more hard use of their stuff, to be like, dude, why are you even showing this stuff? This is like low-cow behavior to like explain away, mansplain why a knife is used, and you guys are wrong in the comments. That's literally what you're doing right now.
I've explained it before. I think I did. But I took this knife out. I've batoned wood. I've split a lot of wood with this knife. I've used this for a lot of different things, and I've just beat the crap out of this knife because I do love it so.
Yeah, just saying. That's going to be a hard argument.
So much, and this typically is the outdoor knife that I grab. This one or the UG Tools Tiny, which also kind of looks like this. It's got a lot more wear and tear on it. But when we're talking about the knives that I get, I probably have, I don't know how many hundreds of knives in the cabinet behind me. There's something new arriving, mostly.
And here's also another thing. So I'm real big on every year doing a big old giveaway yard sale. Buddies come over. Literally, for the last 3 weeks, I've had neighbors, buddies, people that I know come over, have bourbon, have cigars, and open up my drawers and say, dude, just have at it. Take drawers, take knives. I have one set of pockets on my body. My wife carries the same knife that I've given to her years ago. No one else carries a knife. Have what you want. And it's so freeing. I'm telling you, Taylor, it is the most freeing thing ever. I know you own one already, okay? I know for a fact you own a Home and Hatfield Armada, right? Those things are designed to hold 50 knives. Use your Home and Hatfield Armada. Get yourself down to 50 knives only every single year. It's going to be really hard to do, but you're going to feel completely free. And when I say 50 knives, I'm talking about 50 pocket knives. You can keep some fixed blade knives in that drawer, some of those tool cabinets you have behind you. I do the exact same thing. In my Home and Hatfield, I have about 50 knives, a little bit less than that actually right now. And then in the top drawer of my Husky tool bench, I keep a bunch of fixed blades that just won't fit in the Home and Hatfield. And that's what I do. So I have probably about 10 fixed blades and about 40 knives right now, floating pocket knives. And it's just so freeing to know that every year I am so tight. Every year I'm going to be able to just get myself down to that level. And at the end of the day, I am using some of those knives more often because I have less of them.
Every week, maybe a few times a week. And when I get something new, a lot of the time it goes straight in the pocket, and whatever is in the pocket, like this one, will get tossed to the side, and then that one doesn't see the light of day for a while.
And that's the thing. You also might want to get better at telling some of these companies no. So I don't know if you have an ethics statement. I have an ethics statement I send to every company I work with. And the ethics statement basically says, if you don't pay me, I don't have to show your knife on camera. I might show your knife on camera if I like it, or if I want to compare it to something else. So now that I've made that statement, you're not going to pay me any money. Your risk. You send a knife at your own risk. You know what companies do? They send them. No knife company is paying for an independent review. But there are some companies that don't send it. They're like, oh, dude, I only got 4 of these. I can't not send you. I can't not have camera time for my knife. Thanks for the heads up, etc., etc. And it's so liberating to know that you get some knives in, and you actually may not have to concern yourself about doing content on that knife, or even using it to showcase in the future or something like that. I just don't think it's something you have to overly worry about.
Long time. Sometimes I'll come back to a knife I really, really like, but a lot of the times it's on to the next. And that is something I actually really don't love.
Here's another thing that I think that we'll talk about this later, why I think you need a digital, like a like a digital diet. You can get off the internet for a little bit, or maybe change up your content, because you are so on to the next. You are on to the next quite a bit. And so because you do have to worry about that, it oftentimes means that you are having to barely use an item. And because you're barely using an item, it does come off as you're never using your crap. So for me personally, I think that you should just like maybe even think about getting down to that point, and not necessarily always doing that, but I don't know.
I've kind of grown tired of that. I love, sticking with one thing. So like my Red Hawk, my tactile knife company Red Hawk, my design, I've carried the absolute piss out of that knife, and it keeps getting back into the pocket. My Red Hawks have a lot of wear and tear on them. Here's a perfect example. So a lot of the times when I take a picture of a knife, not only do I remove the dust, I will clean the knife before I take a picture of it. But here's a knife, my Unimzon. I don't remember the last time I carried this.
Here's another thing. I don't know why you're showing this knife when you haven't carried it forever. This would not be something I would be trying to do.
Obviously earlier this year, because I got this at Blade Show. And this is how this knife went into the cabinet. There is gunk. There's a little bit of rust on it.
Oh my God, now I'm loose.
There's some schmutz right here.
Let's get on the
I
track.
have no idea what I did to this
Super
knife
loose.
and then threw it in the cabinet. It should probably be flits before I put it back in there now. And this is honestly fairly common. There's many times I reach in here, grab a knife out of there, and it's kind of gross and gunked up. So yeah,
That's not gross or gunked up. That's a white collar version of gross and gunked up. I'm gonna tell you, when you pull out a knife that you accidentally forgot to completely get the hog blood completely off of it before you put it away for the year, that's the definition of gross and gunked up. Okay, what you got going on here is not that definition.
Necessarily take care of my stuff all that well. It is a very well-known thing around here, especially at the office, that
Green flag pit stops, obviously.
if I get my hands on something, it is going to be scratched up and kind of not good for photos for like a long-term carry commission. But this also popped up in my truck EDC video, or the truck gift guide, that I don't know what I'm talking about. Everything is absolutely brand new. Not only am I getting new knives all the time, I get new tools. Klein sent me a box of tools to check out and try out, and I like them, I use them, but I haven't put them through their paces. I get new tools pretty freaking often.
Okay, here's another thing, all right? With a lot of folks who never get free tools, free gear, don't want to hear is the reason my EDC truck gear looks so fantastic, because I get a lot of tools out pretty freaking often. I'm just telling you, man, I'm in the same boat as you, whether it's free headlights for my truck or tow mirrors or tools to go in the back or stuff from different companies, name not be said. You don't want to brag about that, because what you're really saying is, I know what I'm doing, dude. It's just I got this shit for free, bro. People don't like that. People don't like hearing that. They don't like that sentiment. It feels very presumptuous. It feels like you're talking down to folks.
And that's not a brag, it's just the reality of it. When you
it's a brag.
are a gear reviewer,
Or more like a code.
which I don't really review gear all that much, but when you do what I do, you get stuff. So these new tools that show up, they get used, but they're replacing tools that didn't just get beat to tar.
Show us the stuff that you replaced that got beaten to the tar. Because it will be a hard task for me to show you. My stuff that's super beaten, I still keep. Whether they're Knipics, or I got breaker bars, or I have breaching kits, I have pry bars, I have screwdrivers. There's rarely something that's been beaten to the ground and I've replaced it tool-wise. I mean, that's maybe some Harbor Freight tools. But most of the tools I have that get beaten, I want to keep them. They have characters, something I want to pass down to my sons. Like, that's the type of stuff that I think about when I have that stuff. But I don't know, maybe I'm tripping.
Tools that are just, I end up giving away to family and friends because I got the new tools, and those tools get used a little bit and then they get replaced by the new thing. It's just the nature of what I do. It's not a brag, it's just what it is. I test gear a lot, and I get gear, and then I give the gear away, or I keep it and I use it, but it doesn't all get like absolutely thrashed like a 30-year-old wrench. It is a thing that's very prevalent throughout the entirety of everyday carry. There are people who get nothing but safe queens. I have no qualms using the tool for whatever comes up. Does not
Okay, I believe you, but you don't have to prove it in the video.
matter to me if it's, cutting strap or cutting through metal. I've cut through metal with this knife. It is what it is. I don't care. You sharpen the tool and move on with your day. But a lot of my EDC use and knives that I carry, the use that those knives see, a lot of it is boxes. And then where you see is usually tape or some scrapes, and then you wipe it off and it's gone. So most of the knives don't get as much use and time as something like this, which has become kind of a standout knife in my collection. This one is the one I go to all the time. When it comes to pocket knives, especially, that's not always the case. There's always something new and exciting, and I switch to that, and then, you know, a knife gets tossed back in the drawer. I just think it's really interesting to hear how different the people that I see on a daily basis in person feel about me.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to give you a little bit of time to go off, King, and what I really hear is just cope. A lot of excuses as to why your stuff is going to look pretty, and please stop making that comment in the comments, because what is the purpose of making this segment? Is it so that you can convince people that you're using the gear, and so therefore stop making that comment? Because that's not going to be the end result. First off, what you're going to get first is you're going to get the goalpost shifter, okay? You just showed some gear. If you have that guy in your comments and you just explain to him why you do use your gear and why it's, you know, stop saying that about me. Everyone likes me. Everyone likes my gear. That guy's going to shift the goalpost, right? And it's going to be like, okay, well, you haven't used it that much. All right, so I don't even know why you're trying to justify it, because, yeah, you just showed me that piece of kit that you use, but you don't even use it that much, bro. So therefore, it's like, stop coping and stop seeing. So you get that first person. That's going to be guaranteed. Next, you're going to get the person that's still going to say that you're the shelf queen collector. You know, so that they may concede that you use your piece of kit, that you use your piece of gear. Let's go back to the my regular screen, because you may be able to convince folks that you do use your gear, you do use your kit, but they're still going to have something to say. If you show one that's clean, they're going to say you're a shelf queen collector. If you show one that's a little bit scratched up, they're going to be critiquing the fact that you scratched up a beautiful tool, and it's not a tool, you know, it's a knife. Why is it all scratched up? You're wasting your energy on that. Then you're going to get folks to amplify the negative. By responding to these comments, you are amplifying the negative. If you respond to this video, you're amplifying like a critique. You should also ignore this video. This is just another thing I'm giving you a piece of advice for if somebody's been on the internet less than you have. But you're signaling that to your entire audience that the way to get your attention is to be toxic. That literally is what you're telling folks whenever you make these type of videos. And I don't really need to hear more of your video, because I think I understand what your premise is. But goalpost shift is what happens first, amplifying the negative, and then you get the Streisand effect. Whereas addressing this niche criticism often brings attention to people who would have never even noticed it. So somebody didn't know they were in captivity. They didn't know they were in high-end gear captivity. They didn't know that they were in unused gear captivity until you brought it up. The Streisand effect. So now you're making it an issue. You're making it seem much larger than it really is. You're making a mountain out of a molehill, as some of the old folks used to say back in the day. Why the you never use your gear argument is even flawed, Taylor. Let me explain that to you real quick. So to use your gear, it completely misses fundamentally what a gear reviewer is. You're a gear reviewer, okay? You have a reviewer's paradox. You have a perspective of stuff that you get. The review of a high volume of products. You can't use one single item for 5 years like my buddy that came over here the other day and gave me a quote to fix and build my fence. So there's no way you can take 51 weeks to make a piece of content to say this is how heavily I use this one piece of gear this year. It's not going to happen. The commenter doesn't understand the review gear paradox. They don't understand that. Next. Your review gear, there is an aesthetics versus utility aspect. Your channel has never been about utility. It has always been about aesthetics. I would argue that a channel like Gideon's Tactical has been more about utility. He's showing it cut through different pieces of gear. He does tons of B-roll of what it looks like when you do shavings and make kindling and cut through tires and rubbers and whatever. That's more about utility. You're more about aesthetics. And so when you are overly worried about photography and about design, a clean kit is not fake, bro. It's not fake. It is a professional presentation. You need to start using language as, hey guys, This is a professional presentation of gear. I'm not here to show you the utility of the gear. I'm here to show you the aesthetics of the gear. That's why I take photos and I cream all over myself by, editing out dust specks from my photos. The next thing when it comes to the you never use your gear argument is flawed is ownership rights. Ultimately, at the end of the day, bro, it's your shit, regardless if you bought it or it was given to you. So if you want to use a $500 knife to prune roses, to keep it under your desk lamp, to use it as a pry bar like an idiot, you can do that. You can also snap a Benchmade in half that you didn't tell Benchmade you were going to snap. It's yours once you get it, I guess. And so utility is defined by the owner, not the commenter. You are letting this rage stuff define, I guess, this entire segment that you just did. So I think that you have a need for a digital break. I think there's a need for it. Your career has been a long storytelling of wanting to be famous on the internet. And so whether it's CNET, as I mentioned earlier, or you on Pocket now with Best Damn EDC, you found a niche that people do legitly critique. How do you have expertise in this? And you need to lean heavy into, I'm talking to you about this in the aesthetic aspect, not the utility aspect. People come at me and ask me what experience I have in it. And I'm like, well, I was in the Marine Corps and I deployed here and I did this and I was here and I used it there and I did this and I did that. And I got, everybody's background is different. You need a digital break. You do this full time as well as running carry commission and doing collabs with different companies. I think you're too much online, perpetually online, and you're too worried about this shit. And you need to kind of, I don't know, the always on nature of Taylor Martin is not the way to go. It's a recipe for burnout. It's the same thing I made when I made the video about you 2 years ago. Now you're making videos like this. All it screams to me is that you're getting closer to low-cal and explaining away stuff versus just a normal dude. I'm gonna tell you right now, if I made a video that said I never use my gear and I was showing off stuff to show, I promise I use it. See, look, here's a scratch. My homeboys will come over to my man cave, rip the Ethernet lines out of my equipment and uninstall video editors from my computers and say, bro, you need to take a goddamn break, bro. You need to come up to my property and we need to go ahead and put some rounds down range. That's what the homies would do. Pretty Ricky ain't doing that for you. You need to take a break. I think that you need a perspective realignment. The internet vacuum is, you're being hit by user 4829. I mean, think about literally responding to Henry 4829 that says you never use your gear. Meaning, folks just like me, when I comment on someone's stuff, we're all nobodies. And you're responding to the stuff, leading me to believe this is too parasocial for you. You need a creativity recovery. You're talking to 500,000 strangers weekly, and that I don't think that's the best thing for you. And another piece of advice for 2026, you need to diversify your content, even if it takes a hit to views. You guys may notice on this channel, I talk about EDC gear. And I also talk about current world events that have to do with military related. And I don't care if the views aren't where they are. They're both interesting to me. But I would feel completely burnt out if all I talked about was this leather pouch, this knife, that for, 365 days a year. It would just be disgusting for my mental health. And I think you need to diversify yours. Do more truck content. Take a video that only does 3,000 views. Keep doing it. Keep grinding. Well, I'm talking to you you shouldn't be telling us this crap. But the bottom line is you're one of the most influential EDC content creators out there. And you have a specific eye for gear. That is why you're noticed by companies. That is why your audience likes you. You're creating a Streisand effect by amplifying the negativity. And you need to take a break from the internet. And letting a few pocket jewelry comments get your panties in a bunch is not a good look, bro. If you let that get under your skin, you're going to let trolls take over your creative process, just like they did in this video. But maybe I'm wrong. Comment down below. Tell me what y'all think about gear never being used. And does it freaking matter? Because I don't think it does. I just let y'all watch me freaking bomb in a NASCAR race. Who cares? Doesn't matter what people say about you on the internet. Just matters how you respond to it. Tighten your jaw up. I'll catch y'all later.